Welcome to the second edition of Mick and T's Sports Report here on CHCO-TV. I'm Joe Ticotsky, and this is my co-host, Evan McFarlane. Even though our inaugural episode did have about 300 views, which we were excited about on the YouTube channel, we are always looking for ways to improve. So we have a slightly new format where we're going to 30-minute shows as opposed to an hour. We have some spiffy new polos, courtesy of our sponsors at Adidas. But we still kept some of your favorite features. But before we start out, since this is being taped late January, I am brought some gifts up from Evan, and they're sort of related to our first show.
All right, let's go.
Where we talked about doing a little Dunkin' Donuts debate, and he talked about how they give dogs a Timbit. So I got you a
dog scarf.
A little dog scarf with the Dunkin' Donuts logo on there. So hopefully you'll enjoy that.
All right, yeah.
And then this you'll have to wait till next year, but this is awesome. It's a little Christmas ornament. You can grab that on your own later on.
Perfect.
From Dunkin' Donuts.
That's
nice. Next year we'll see the Tim Hortons Christmas ornament there. So hope you enjoy your gifts.
I appreciate that. That'll look great.
And that was based on the debate we had the first time. What we're doing now is we want to make the show as good as we could. So I looked over the first show, and we have some mistakes that we did have in the first episode.
You know, we only have half an hour.
Exactly, okay. Exactly. So there are only three that I found. A couple times I called it Mick and JT's Sports Report, and it's not JT's.
Justin Timberlake would get more than 300 views.
His lawyer called me.
Okay.
Apparently I pronounced it Mississauga.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a bogey.
Silent W, Mississauga. And then when you were talking about, you were referencing Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, but you called him Stephen A. Anderson of ESPN.
Solid. Wow.
Yeah. So those are mistakes, which isn't bad.
No, we'll take it.
We have some viewer emails that came in because we encourage people to let us know what they thought of the show.
Cool.
So I wrote down a few of them, and I'll read them. Lisa from Shamcook. Who's the old guy in the blue shirt, and why is he in our country? Okay, Lisa.
Charlotte County strong.
Exactly. Jim from Thompson, Manitoba, put great stuff. You guys are naturals, but tell Evan he's wrong on the over/under for Winnipeg.
Yeah, well, so far that's probably a correct statement by Jim.
Jim, he was. People were looking at those.
I can't foresee injuries, man. That crippled me right there.
Exactly. They look at it with a fine-tooth comb. Everything we say. My sister sent me an email, and I knew this was going to happen. She's from New Haven, Connecticut. She put, excellent. I actually watched the whole show. Well, I fast-forwarded through some of the sports stuff. It's a sports show. Yeah. Gordon from Orillia, Ontario wrote, great show, well done. I'm working on a theme song for you guys.
Cool.
If I could pull off the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, I could certainly whip up something good for your 2-bit show. Gordon Lightfoot is from Orillia, Ontario. I had to look that up. We got an email from Montreal from Ivy, who's a self-described non-sports fan. Which I don't know if that's our target audience or not, but
we'll take it.
She said, the banter was good and you're both calm and articulate. The Tims versus Duncan debate was hilarious. One thing I'm wondering is if the lighting might possibly be made more flattering for both of you. Since you both wore bright colors, you both look really pale.
Yeah,
I had to tell the original name.
This was a while ago when both of us weren't doing too well, so we are better now.
Yeah. And the original name of our show is going to be Two Pasty White Guys, but we passed on that. And then the last email we got is from PW right here in St. Andrews. Enjoyed your first show, but please stop playing with your pens. It's distracting unless you plan on having a pen spinning contest. If you'd like me to continue producing your show... Oh, I guess that's Patrick Watt from right here. That was a note and not an email. That was my mistake on that.
Sorry, Patrick.
Okay, so that's our mistakes and email segment. We're going to take a quick break and come back with headlines. We're back here on Mick and T's Sports Report with episode number 2. And we're going to go into our main section of each show, which we just simply call headlines. And just some sports related headlines that were big. And it's amazing how fast the news cycle changes of things that you thought were big at one point that people totally forgot about. But I think the lead headline for this one has to be the tragic death of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the 7 others in that helicopter crash in California. And a lot of people, especially up here, had asked me, why is it such a big deal about, Kobe Bryant's death, especially if you're a non-sports fan. And first, he was really an international phenom, so I think that makes it big.
Absolutely, and like my generation, Kobe was kind of the guy growing up. I mean, simple things from watching him score 60 points, 80 points. He did that, 6 times in his career? He was over 60.
Yeah.
And down to something as simple as just crumpling up a piece of garbage as a kid and throwing it across the corner and yelling Kobe. Like, that's something that needs to keep going to honor this guy, because he was way beyond basketball.
He was, and there was... like I said, there were high school games in Connecticut. I saw one picture of a student section where they all wore Kobe Bryant gear to the next game, or colors, the Lakers colors, writing RIP 24 on their sneakers. And it is hard, I think, for people who are non-sports fans to see, but it could be maybe a Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston type thing.
He stretched so beyond basketball. He's known for his mentality, and athletes at the highest level have kind of taken on that approach, especially in this newer generation where they strive to be the greatest. And Kobe was really known for putting everything aside and just tunnel visioning on basketball and saying, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to be the greatest at it. And that's kind of carried over to all of those top athletes across the world.
And he was a ruthless competitor. A friend of mine who does shooting clinics, Dave Hopla, if you look him up online, Dave Hopla, the guy's phenomenal. He's previously been an assistant with the Raptors, the Wizards, the Pistons, the Knicks. He tries to forget the Knicks portion of his career. So I emailed him and said, do you have a Kobe story that we could read on the air? And he got right back to me and he said, he used to work Kobe out when he was younger, and he said he was just out of high school and they had done a workout. They were going to get something to eat. He was with Kobe's agent, Arn Tellem, I believe his name is, and Kobe was in the back seat, and they said, "What are you doing back there?" And he had an old Street and Smith's magazine, which is a little before your time, sort of like the Bible of basketball, and he was going over. He started with Atlanta, and he went alphabetically, and he was going over player by player, every player in the league. And he would say, I'm better than that guy. I'm going to be better than that guy. But when I'm done, I'll be twice as good as that guy. And he said it was almost like it was a hit list. And here was a kid who was 17 years old that just had that drive. And everyone says they want to be the best, and he said that the times he worked him out, it was always 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't just talk the talk.
Out. And I think that those stories are coming out. Everybody has been telling their Kobe stories, and I think this is a big one in the sports world, and I think we're going to hear more and more stories for a really long time. So I don't think this is just something that we get over overnight. Yeah,
and it's tragic the way with his daughter. He had built a sports academy. He was coaching her. There were a lot of pictures where they showed him with UConn gear on. He and his daughter become fans of the UConn women's team, and he really supported the women's sports. And it's, 41 years old for anyone, let alone someone that could have that much of an impact on the sports world and the world. It's tragic.
It's
no other way to put it. Okay, our next topic we're going to go over is the baseball sign stealing
what
scandal.
What a racket that is.
Why don't you explain a little bit about what happened? It was with the Houston Astros.
Yeah, so we've got the Houston Astros, the reigning world champions in baseball, have kind of came out and said that they were cheating, essentially. They've gone beyond the old days of spying and taking these signs from pitchers, and they've gone as far as saying that there's electronic devices on their players and they're buzzing for certain pitches, and kind of the stats are apparent that it did happen. You've got guys that batted extremely well at home, and then they go on the road and they were batting like a third of as efficient. And it's just a mess. That's really spiraled out of control.
And there was also the fallout from it with a couple managers.
Right. So you're losing the manager, and it was the manager and the
General manager.
The general manager are gone. They're suspended for 2 years, is it? And then you go to guys who have moved on from that association. You've got the Red Sox GM who's banned for a year. You've got the Mets GM who never even got to coach a game.
Right.
He got the boot. So there's a lot of people around the league who aren't very happy about this, saying they should maybe be stripped of their title.
Yeah.
What do you think there?
I'm always leery about once something's done, an NCAA violation, you take it off the wall. And all I know is baseball, it's just always something, whether it's, steroids or, the cheating. And, it'll be interesting to see if there's a target literally for the batters of the Astros once they, make their first go-round of the season at various parks.
Yeah, they're going to get the boo birds. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, and pitchers may throw at them also. All right, we're going to move on to, this show will be probably aired after the Super Bowl is held, but the upcoming Super Bowl 54 between the Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. So we got, first I wrote down some Super Bowl tidbits, which I didn't even know half of these. It's unbelievable. In 1967, the first year of it, it was referred to as the AFL-NFL World Championship game. It wasn't really called the Super Bowl for a couple of years, and the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, his daughter played with one of those Super Balls that would sort of bounce all over, and they were thinking of a name for it, the Great Game, and he came up with Super Bowl, and they sort of used it from there and went on. Neat. The halftime show at the first Super Bowl were 2 college marching bands, so it sort of shows you how different it's changed from the extravagant. Who's on this year?
Beyonce, or not Beyonce, sorry, J-Lo and Shakira.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's come a long ways.
Yeah, and they really make a big deal out of the halftime show.
I know a lot of people who just watch for the halftime show.
Commercials and halftime. First Super Bowl was the only one that never sold out. Even though the tickets were only $12, it was only 75% full. And there's a classic picture of Len Dawson, the quarterback, that the NFL Films took at halftime, and he's sitting on a chair with a bottle of soda, smoking a cigarette at halftime. And it just
you couldn't even get that soda at a game now for $12.
Exactly. It doesn't say old-time football more than your quarterback smoking a cigarette. The second half kickoff actually had to be done over because there were 2 networks covering it together. One of them was doing a TV interview with Bob Hope that went over, so they had to redo the kickoff. Okay, that's it. We hope you enjoyed the headlines episode, some Super Bowl information, and we'll be back. Actually, we're going to go after the break. We're going to have an interview that Evan did last month with Raeghan O'Leary of, how's it pronounced, the university?
Dalhousie University.
Dalhousie University. She's a grad of SJDA, plays college hockey there. And when we come back from the break, you'll see that interview. This is Mick and T's Sports Report.
Welcome back to Mick and T's Sports Report. I'm Evan. This is my co-host Joe. We hope you enjoyed the first half of our show today, and next we're going to show you an interview that I did previously with a local and has now moved on to Dalhousie University, Raeghan O'Leary. I'm here with Raeghan O'Leary. She's a 2019 graduate from Sir James Dunn Academy who is currently a first-year player at Dalhousie University playing women's hockey. So, Raeghan, we just want you to maybe tell us a little bit about when you started playing hockey and what teams you played for to get you there.
So I started skating when I was about 5, and hockey's been a huge part of my life ever since. I started off playing with boys because the nearest team to play with girls would be in St. John.
Okay.
So up until my first year Bantam, I played competitive boys with a lot of my friends here, and then started playing with girls in Bantam and Midget.
Okay.
And then also in Midget, I played a little bit with our high school boys team here just when I could, and yeah, now I'm playing for Dal.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's a small town, so you have to get involved with as many teams as you can. And I know growing up here, I tried to keep busy too, but small school tends to have the same kids playing for different teams. Was there any other sports that you played for while you were at high school?
In high school, I also did cross country and track, soccer, badminton, volleyball, hockey with the boys team as well, and then hockey with my team in St. John. I think I'm missing something, but yeah, that's basically the rundown.
Pretty busy schedule.
Yeah.
How about your path to end up playing at Dal? Like maybe what made you pick that school?
To be honest, I decided really last minute. I planned on going to UNB, and then basically a week before graduation said, you know what, I'm going to try and challenge myself. I had been working at the biological station, and I had some mentors that really felt that, you know, it might be a better experience to challenge myself and push myself to go somewhere that was new and try something different, because Fredericton and UNB, like living so close, it's a school that I was familiar with, and it was more of a challenge to just go away and try something new.
So what are you majoring in? What made you decide to go to Dal as opposed to UNB? Was there specific courses that maybe you were more attracted to there?
No, not really. I think it's pretty much the same. I'm interested in like science and engineering is what I'm in right now, so both schools offer that.
Cool. Maybe give us a little snippet of how the team's doing this year. How do you think you've been playing as a first-year player?
Obviously, it's a big change from what I'm used to,
sure.
but I'm having a great time so far. We're currently in a playoff spot, and things
Awesome.
are looking good, so I'm just going to have to keep working hard for the next half, and hopefully things go well. I really can't complain, so I've enjoyed my time.
I imagine that the difference from being at UNB to Dalhousie and Halifax, maybe the people that see the biggest difference would be your family, and with your parents both being principals in town, they have a pretty busy schedule. How often do they get to make it to games to see you play?
I think they've come 2 or 3 times. Often it's usually when we're playing like in New Brunswick, they can just drive up and watch, but they've also come to Halifax once. It's hard because my dad's also coaching, so trying to find time when his
he's a
team
busy
isn't
guy.
playing. Yeah.
What do you see so far between the biggest differences from the step to university hockey from the high school level or the AAA level that you played before?
For me, I would say like I'm always working hard and being competitive, so it's not necessarily the intensity, but it's more so just learning to understand that there's 17 forwards, not 10.
Yeah.
So some days, like if you're not playing, it's not because you did something wrong, it's just because someone else brings something positive to the team that they need that day, depending on who you're playing. So just understanding that, what my role is, and as a first year, not to, get down on myself if I don't get the
sure.
opportunities. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you think's been the biggest challenge so far for you?
I'd say just being away from everybody. Going to Dal, I didn't know a single person. There's nobody from our school who's graduated and gone there in quite a few years, so it was completely new. Like everything was new, not just a new city, but new people entirely. There was nobody that I could really rely on if I had to right away, which obviously, now has changed, but so that was probably the biggest challenge at the start.
Perfect. And lastly, on the more serious question notes, what do you have for advice maybe for young girls who will see this, who are playing hockey now and maybe thinking that in the future they could step to that next level?
Well, for me, I know there was a few times where it felt like there was no chance. Usually prep school is kind of the route everybody sees for girls playing hockey, and when my parents decided that wasn't going to be for me, I know kind of felt like crushed, like there was no chance, and you really just have to keep working hard and believe in yourself. And it can be hard having to play with boys and finding a team to even be a part of, especially like when you're from such a small town, and I had to drive an hour to practice 3 times a week at least. So like it can get kind of tiring, so just staying, like keeping the hope and working hard. Somebody will notice eventually.
Yeah, no, it's a great message. So we've got a couple more fun questions here. We'll get away from the serious talk, but we'll call this rapid fire, I guess. It's kind of like an either or segment, but let's say coffee or hot chocolate?
Hot chocolate.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Rain or snow?
Ooh, snow.
Dessert after a meal, or do you go back for seconds?
Both.
Both? Nice. That's a veteran move. Go out to a movie theater or stay in and watch it?
Movies, because I don't do that often.
And how about a book or a movie?
Ooh, movie.
Comedy or tragedy?
Comedy.
Meat or vegetables?
Both.
Both, nice. Chocolate eater?
Yeah.
Dark or white?
White.
Good call. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Save money or blow it as soon as you make it?
Kind of middle, I guess.
Okay, well that sounds like a university student. So now that you're living away from home, what do you find worse, doing laundry or doing your dishes?
Dishes.
Favorite NHL team and or player?
Oh, that's tough, actually. I would say my favorite team, just because it was the first game that I had ever gone to, was against the Canadiens in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh won, so that was kind of like a memory for me.
Yep,
So I often give them the
And you got Sydney now, kind of the Atlantic Canadian spokesperson. So
true.
Favorite pregame meal?
Some type of pasta,
Yeah.
always. Yeah.
And would that be the same kind of meal that you get jacked up about when you go to meal hall and see it?
I guess so, yeah. I pretty much only eat pasta at meal hall.
Yeah, it's the safe thing to eat
It
at
is.
meal hall.
Yeah.
Favorite number?
19.
How about favorite place to vacation?
Ooh, summer's warm. I'd
Summer's
say.
warm. A
Yeah.
place that you've never been to maybe before that you would choose?
Yeah, for sure.
So do you have something in mind that you're kind of planning on going to, maybe a March break down the road?
I don't know. Hopefully my parents have something in mind that
Yeah,
would surprise me.
that's a great answer. How about something that you've never done that's on the bucket list?
I would love to go scuba diving somewhere cool. Like, that's always been something that I've hoped to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of water, so that's not on my list. How about your favorite class right now?
I really love math, always, usually.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. And last fun one, maybe your favorite warm-up song that gets you fired up for a game.
Right now it's kind of cool because we're the Dalhousie Tigers, so we always play Eye the Tiger when we
course.
go on the ice, you
Yeah.
know, so I guess that's pump up. It's kind of
Awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you. Okay, so the last thing that I have, Joe sent me a text this morning, and he wanted me to read this for you.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of a dig. I'll give you a heads up. But Joe just wanted me to remind you that the U.S. defeated Canada in the 2018 Women's Hockey Olympic gold medal game. But he says he would be willing to bet on the upcoming 2022 Olympics. He did, however, want to congratulate you on a successful start to your university career, and he looks forward to seeing you when he comes back.
Thank you.
So that's all the questions that we have for Raeghan, and we certainly appreciate you taking a couple minutes to come on and chat with us, and we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the year. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Great job on that interview, Evan. Appreciate it, and I'm sure Raeghan will enjoy it also.
It was a lot of fun. She did really good.
Okay, for our closing segment, which we just call the last words, we do a couple little things here. We always do a charity spotlight, and for this episode, it's the Fundy Community Foundation. They're Canada's first rural community foundation. They support the development of endowment funds, responsible grant making, and community leadership. Their website is fcf.nb.ca. And the phone number is 529-4896. And we'll also include this information on our YouTube page, so if people would like to call or donate. We do a music spotlight. And I went with two Canadians, groups, both from Newfoundland.
Ooh,
And I know Evan still gets a kick that I listen to CDs. Okay. I couldn't fit the record player in the car. The Once, they're a trio based out of St. John's, Newfoundland. And excellent. The other one, also, they're a duo from St. John's, Newfoundland. Fortunate Ones.
Those are awesome.
Yep, they do some
Give them a
really
listen.
good stuff. Okay, shout outs. I got two quick ones. Both short point guards. Samantha Roy, she's 5'4" point guard of the #1 team in Division III at Bowdoin College. And Alex Goslin, a 5-foot point guard and 1,000-point career scorer at Springfield College. What do you have?
Yeah, I've got a couple quick ones too. First one, the guy that I'm shouting out to is my friend RJ from Shamcook. Last show, he blatantly came out and said, "Why did I not get a shout out?" So here it is. Second one is a college buddy of mine, Derek Montague, who's living in Halifax now, texts me on a regular about the Leafs and all of their misfortunes. So here's your shout out, Derek. Thanks.
There you go. Okay, that's it for episode 2 of Mick and T Sports Report. Once again, thanks so much to Patrick Watt
Yes.
of CHCO-TV, station editor and manager, and also to executive producer, sound man, Handy Andy, engineer, David Welch. Once again, we're off to go break down the tape, correct our mistakes, and get ready for episode 3.
See you next time.
Take care.